Hi again, it's me again. Same t-shirt, same day, just fed Zeus and Ty, and they're both eating now, so which is very amazing because Zeus was getting on my nerves, so I fed him, and then Ty thought, oh, food time. And Ty's not the biggest eater, so they're both eating. Peggy, my dog's still asleep on the sofa, but went off on a different direction to what I wanted to with the first post. Wanted it to be more about what I'm going to talk about. So let's get to it. Right then, what I was going to say, one of the things, and this is, I don't want to just talk about veganism, even though it's important and has a lot of, I do want to talk about the environment and health and well-being as well. So I'm trying to. This is was a life-changing part of my life. I spent 5 years working for my local council, and my job title was car park income collector. Basically, a glorified collecting money for the council from the machines and what have you, and redistributing it around collecting and redistributing money around my local town. Interesting job, paid well, but then I suppose it had to because there was there was an element of you're dealing with cash, so you've got to pay people the right amount, but also there's a little risk factor involved. But that's one of those parts. There's a risk factor in a lot of jobs. I mean, butchery, God, accidents happen all the time, and safety is paramount, but things happen, we've all cut ourselves bad and that's it. But no, so this is about butchery, and I said in a blog post earlier, I worked for a vegan. Well, technically I did. I worked for the council from 2007 to 2012, and in 2012 a company which I didn't know about but I kind of realised I did came on the scene to Cheltenham, and it was called Whole Foods. And Whole Foods was owned by a guy called John Mackey. Well, he was the main shareholder. I mean, he was the founder, he originated. He later went on to sell it to Amazon, but I'd actually left before he sold it to Amazon, so kind of grateful. He was a vegan, and it had implications. I didn't realise this when I went for the job. So first things first is I never realised that Whole Foods was originally Fresh and Wild, and it was by a different guy who left the company and set up as Fresh and Wild, and then Whole Foods wanted to get into the UK, so they bought the stores he had, kept some of them. I used to go to one called Fresh and Wild in Bristol. Now, you might say, well, that's not very good, is it? You're driving to Bristol 45 miles away to get fruit and veg and bits. But I went there once every 3 to 6 months, so 2 or 3 times a year, really. And we'd stock up all the things we couldn't get, and then we'd treat ourselves, and we'd have a lovely meal. They had a fantastic restaurant. It was great. This was in Bristol, so we done. And there were different experiences about the Whole Food that we'll get to. So, right. They had we have a food festival in Cheltenham every year. This year, obviously, it's not going to happen, but we have it every year. And in the spring of 2012, they were the main sponsors. They had a stall, and I went there, and I've got to be honest, I wasn't impressed. I think it was blueberries, and there wasn't other fruit, and that's all they had, and they were selling it. And I didn't take much notice of the staff selling the stuff. The food festival was great. I was a big meter at the time, and I said there were different things that I was more interested in. But I didn't really take no notice of it. But I did a bit of research. Then I found out they were part of Fresh and Wild. I thought, well, they can't be all bad, Be interested in this. And they advertised. And I'll never forget, I went for an interview on August the 24th, and 2012. And it was at the local college. They had it, a big area. And I'm in there. And I'm the only person. There were hundreds of people. There were applicants. I knew there were butchery jobs going. And I hadn't touched a knife for a number of years, but I wanted to get back into it. And that's just me, I'm being honest. I'm more comfortable in that environment, so I wasn't going there to be a checkout operator. I didn't even know what all the stuff they were going to do, which was immense and great. And there was another area that I've been interested in, which we're going to talk about some other time. But then again, the path I've gone down now wouldn't have been any good to me then. No, so I was going there for a butcher, and obviously we all worked different times, and they were they were doing this open over a number of days, and I was there at the one of them, and there were hundreds. So I look on my CV, I'm wearing a suit. First thing I notice is I'm the only person in that whole area wearing a suit, and I'm thinking, God, I'm overdressed for this, Then I meet the guy. They call him Swiggy, John McSwiggy. Lovely guy. He was the Whole Foods regional, which is like the UK meat manager. He was my direct boss. And thank God he had a shirt, tie, trousers on. And when we went up into this area where they do the interview, and it was strange. It was like going to a classroom. If you can imagine going to 80s classroom, if I'm old. But at the opposite your side of your desk was the person interviewing you, so there was no gap between us. And it was because it was a college place, but it was strange. But luckily, he had a jacket behind the seat, so I thought, thank God for that. I'm not the only person in this place, but it was me and him. And we clicked on. Nice guy. He managed to run the Glasgow meat department, but he also overrun the UK, so he spent a lot of time in London. So I met him, and he was proud of what he was doing, and he showed me, and he basically told me I got the job straight away. So I'm going to keep looking down because I go, right. So it was great. That was in August of 20. He basically told me, you got the job. Later on, going to meet the other guy. They were aiming to open in October. So I worked my job. They gave me, I say, I need a month's notice before you want me to start, because I've got to get my notice in. And it then transpired, I know the dates well, because the second one's my cousin's birthday. The job started on Monday, the 23rd of October 2012. So the month before I gave my notice in at the council. It was great, and we're talking. And the one reason I was leaving the council, more than anything else, was because I was only part-time. They would only give me 22 hours a week, and I needed to earn more. And I'd done it for 5 years, and I was, you go through the struggles and that. And there was no more there. Any case. Yeah, right, get there. So I go in on the Monday, and they've hired this great big Pitfall Pump Rooms. It's massive. Massive venue. Hundreds of people there. Oh, we track back before that. I have to go and take some, I can't remember exactly what, but pieces of information about me before the 23rd. And they've got outside there where they were doing this, they had these porter cabins in the car park, which was theirs, and I had to go meet the who happened to be, I didn't know this at the time, Susie, her name was Susie Deverell. She used to be in charge of all the HR for the O Company in the UK. Brilliant woman, got on really well with it. And I'm taking this paperwork, and she says, oh, Mary, and this is your store manager. She says, oh, and she went, and she's really nice, American. Found out she came from Boston, really nice. And then she told me, oh, what department are you in? I said, butchery. Oh, I'm a vegetarian. And that was it. And she just walked off. And I thought, sugar, or words to that effect. This is good, isn't it? I couldn't get it. I thought, she just walked off. And she said, oh, don't worry, you'll understand. And I'm a bit, oh, okay, leave it at that for now. So then I go to the pump room on the 23rd. It's a Monday morning. We all meet up at the pump room. Big car park at the back. We park our cars, go in. We have all these different seminars and bits and pieces. Learn about foods. There were hundreds of us, and apparently there were nearly, I think it was 385, so nearly 400 people there on the first from. And you're getting blown away. So then, that's when I meet my team leader for the first time. I didn't know him at all, and I met the assistant team leader, didn't know him. One of the butchers I'd worked with previously for a number of years and learned as we worked on together. We all have our demons, and these demons were kept coming up and that. But I knew someone, and that was like, oh God, I know one person. And then there was one person that I'd heard of. There's two. One I'd heard of and known of for all the wrong reasons, and I was like, oh, okay. So he's in the department. And then one that used to run stores around Cheltenham and used to be a nightclub, used to do the doors on the pubs at night, and would always refuse me entry in because I worked for a rival. No, bloody, it turns out he's one of my best mates now. It's ironic, isn't it? All those years ago, if I'd have said to him, "Oh, we'd be good mates," you're not coming in. I would Spike, thank you for that. You never saved me any money because I'd just go to the next pub and you didn't care and never caused any trouble, but it was a right mixed bag. So again, to admit the cream. So then, after a couple of days at the pump room, we have to go to Kensington. Big store, massive store. Too big, in my opinion, but that's only in my opinion. It was humongous, and it used to be, was something else prior, and it might have been the Daily Mail headquarters or something like that. But in High Street, Kensington, it's a big, plush, flamboyant store. The irony is what the public, it was like a maid for the staff, so on our lunch breaks, when we were there, because I was only there for 2 or 3 days, never got used to it. I would spend my lunch breaks getting lost and then going back, not having anything, didn't see the outside, it was strange. But kind of got the gist that it was a slightly different company. Very expensive. place. And that's why the Americans call it O Paycheck. So I'm trying to rush through and looking down here. So to get to a few parts about John McEnroe. So we did my training there. It was an interesting experience. We then get to see our store. I think it was the Thursday night we go to see our store, our department for the first time. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. All new equipment, big counters. Don't realise at the time that they kind of not bought the best quality fridge counters, so we always had problems. But you know, they had a dry age cabinet, and it was amazing. You know, and it's something now that I'm not interested in, but at the time I was like, oh, you know, all the equipment, proper facility. It was great. So get there. So sort of thought, that's great. So the build-up was intense, and you're working all the time, and you're obviously, you know, you're stocking up and getting things in and meeting suppliers and all sorts, and it's all craziness. You know, it's so in depth, and it was good. So then, I know a guy called I want to say his name, Dave Docker. We called him Doc. And he was the second in command of the area, and I had the privilege, and I call it that, a privilege of working alongside him for a couple of days. And boy, he was a good guy. I learned so much from him. And he was a really nice, genuine guy. Unfortunately, a few months after the store, within 6 months of the store opening, I believe he left the company. But sad, because he was a brilliant guy. I really had a lot of respect for him. Having to work one-on-one with him all day on a Sunday, starting on Sunday, and going through things and meticulously, it was great. It just made me feel I'm in the right place. And then we're building up to the tension of the store's going to open, and I went in at 4 o'clock in the morning of the opening day, because we were having this big splash, and then there's going to be big kerfuffle outside for the general public and the staff, and you know, they have this tradition of breaking bread and banging drums and all sorts of things. There were lots of staff, and I never understood this, from other stores around the country, from Glasgow, we had a store in Glasgow, all the stores in London had a bit of an influence in it, and coming over from America, all parts of America, LA, you know, all parts of America. I'm not going to say, because I'm the geography of America, I'm not American, so I don't know. But met some really interesting people. I'm still friends with a number of them on Facebook, and they were genuinely interesting people. And there's a reason I bring all these up in a minute. And I'm in there at 4 o'clock in the morning prepping, and I nearly, about 5:30 in the morning, the second in command butcher, who later got promoted to team leader and then demoted to the same level, I nearly quit at 5. He was ranting and raving at me about something, and I just didn't understand. And I was like, I nearly just put the knife down and walked out and said, enough's enough. Which irony is, later on that day, my manager, until Friday afternoon, had come in and asked me if I wanted my job back with full-time hours. I'm like, no, what? You know, I stuck it out, and then it was a blur between October the 23rd and December the 24th was a blur, because it was so busy, so new, so fresh. You were getting into it, and not just the meat department, which was its own territory of its own. We had 13 members when we first started, and don't forget the crew. There were 13 members of crew, including the team leader and assistant team leader. So we had a great crew, got on really well, and it was just a blur. But they had some really strange ways of doing things. Well, I thought they were strange, and it's like the first Christmas, the customer service would take the orders for the turkeys. You weren't allowed to take orders for the turkeys at the counter. No, that was above you. So you go to customer service and making notes, and then they're going, oh, you've got this fantastic number of turkeys sold for Christmas. Oh, before we got there, Thanksgiving. I'd never experienced a thing like Thanksgiving before, and because it's an American store, they took it on board. But we'll go back to that in a minute, sort of thing. So yeah, so the customer service side of things was amazing customer service for everyone, but you know, they took the orders. But the person in charge of customer service completely got it wrong. She went, oh, we've sold this. No, we haven't. We have. So took all the paperwork home with my daughter, who was 17 at the time, and we went through it all. And unbelievably, she doubled every order for some. I don't know how she did it. She doubled some orders for a customer, tripled some, and quadrupled a few. So if you'd ordered gammon and turkey and stuff, technically she's saying they'd ordered 4. I don't know what she'd done. So we had to get all these orders, hundreds and hundreds of them, and put them in place, and then I'd staple 4 together there, 3 together there, 2 together there. There wasn't a single one. And so I went in the next day. I said, this is completely mad. You've got it all wrong. We had to sit down, go for it. Explained to my team leader, showed him. He brought his concerns up at the meeting, told them the story. Oh, they have to. Went for it. Any case, there wasn't a blame, pointing finger culture there, but transpires on this one occasion I was right and she was wrong, and we could have had a catastrophe. I mean, a massive catastrophe of vastly over ordering in because we thought we pre-sold them and we hadn't, and it came up. So with that, I think that was the main reason why, saving the company umpteen thousands of pounds, I got the team leader of the quarter at the first one in the new year. But before we get to that, see, I ramble on a bit, don't I? We had 2 things happen. One was, Zeus he's been fed, and what I didn't realise is when you have a store and they put this, and they take this unit and they put it down, and then they fill it with nice new stuff, the best that money can buy, admittedly, and then they get people from all over the country and put them into hotels, and they get people from America, they put them to nice hotels. Their fees, they're more experienced than you, so they do overtime, so the time and a half and all this, and their air flight from America to it all goes against the store. And to me, that was absolutely crazy. But apparently it works in America, it works all the time. So they carried on doing it. And so it meant the store had a massive deficit before it even opened. It was millions and millions and millions in debt, more than it should have been when it opened. And that blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. And then came March, after Christmas, the store started slowing down in the trade. They called it a J curve when they were talking about it. It's going to go massively up, and then it's going to go down, and then it'll peak up and it'll go up. They call it a J curve in America. I never heard of this before, but that's what they said. And then come March, they made loads of redundancies. I mean, I've been 2 or 3 from our department, but I mean, over the store, some departments were far greater than we were, and it was horrible. I'd never experienced that, but apparently then again, I later learned that in the retail of that side, I've never been like in a big supermarket. It's commonplace that you open a store, you overstaff it. So I felt for all those people that started before Christmas. Yes, they had a good Christmas, but then in March, they lose the job. So I'm just going to stop there for a second. I just didn't get it, So I'm just going to, yeah. And the suppliers were interested. They were all free range organic, but it was. I loved working there, to be honest with you, and I had my reasons when I left to leave. But I'll go back. They used to celebrate things differently there, and I never got this as well. They'd celebrate Thanksgiving. I understand it's an American store; they can do what they want there. They'd celebrate Burns Night. They'd celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but they wouldn't celebrate St. George's Day, and that really ate a few of us up, and we never got it. We never truly understood it all, and I started getting intrigued. So John Mackey put a book out called Conscious Capitalism. I bought the book, I read the book, and I said to my boss, we're never going to fit in 100% here, are we? He's got these different things about him. I mean, he'd met him actually. My boss had actually met him. Sorry, I got Zeus here again, and it was an interesting what he was telling me about him, you know what I mean? So he'd met him. So I read the book, and then I started going on YouTube and watching YouTubes of him later. And what I found was he'd start in the store, and the stores were all laid out the same. And I never forget the one in New York. He started right on the edge of a fish counter, and he walked around the store, and he's talking about the store, and he's talking about, well, I've got to have meat and fish in the counter. Oh yes, I'm vegan and blah blah. And he'd go on about all the good things he do about, but I don't 100% own it. I've got to give the shareholders and I've got to give the public what the public want. But he would never show it. So they would do these fantastic displays for him, and it would never be on show. He'd walk from one end and he'd never go back. And years later, after I'd left and the store was still, apparently he went to the Cheltenham branch once. I wasn't there. I wasn't part of it. And he completely ignored the department. And I'm like, but they're your staff, So I never got to grips with the working for a vegan, but it just couldn't. he does some amazing things as well, though. This is the thing that got me. His charitable foundations were great, you know what I mean? And I didn't get it. I'm going to stop it now and do a part 2 because it gets, and I've gone over the 20. So I'll just say, for this part, if you don't watch the next one, take care and stay safe. Thank you. Bye.